talk to Eric Davis, host of the Bleave in 49ers on the Bleave Podcast Network. You remember Eric is a member of the Niners, played with the Panthers, Denver Lions, multiple Pro Bowls, 3-time All-Pro. He also is a Super Bowl champion and host of the Bleave in 49ers on the Bleave Podcast Network. Eric Davis joins us now on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline as the Philadelphia Eagles will travel to face a very banged-up 49ers team. But, Eric, I'm not sure it matters right now. This Niners team still appears to be cranking them out, man. This team still looks to be getting past all the injury problems they've been having.
Well, of course, you always want your front line guys out there, but it's a deep team, man. And if you truly are talking about competing and for a championship and sustaining a winning locker room, you got to have guys that at every slot on your roster that can actually play. And I think they've done a pretty good job of putting this roster together over the last few years. So, yeah, even with the injuries, you can still find ways to do what's needed. Yeah, you lose Nick Bosa, but you got enough D linemen and rushers in your secondary to where you can manufacture a pass rush. You can score enough points offensively, even when you lose your quarterback, which is death to most teams. You got a capable backup to come in and still run the offense, and you don't have to switch much for them. So I would be happier if I'm sure they would too if you still had Bosa and D Ford out there and Solomon Thomas. But the guys that are stepping in, they kind of live by that next man up mantra there. But the next man up only matters if the next man can ball. If the next man's not a damn dude, you suck.
Yeah, no, look, the Eagles went through it when they won that Super Bowl. There was guys hurt all over the place, and, of course, the quarterback included. What's the difference between this offense with Garoppolo and Mullins? Because I'm looking at the numbers, man, and they are almost identical across the two games. They've both completed 33 passes. They've both thrown about 50. They're both throwing for about the same amount of yards per game. They've both averaged about the same amount of attempts per game. So is the offense different depending on who the quarterback is, or is it just plug and play?
The offense is not different. No, it's not going to be different. Is there a significant difference, like a major significant difference between Nick Mullins and Garoppolo? Not major. Garoppolo's a better player, better release, more accurate. That's the reason why he's the starter. That's the reason why they traded to get him. But the thing about it, and I was really interested in seeing what was going to happen when he went down. I wanted to make certain that, and I said it last week on my pod, I said I want to make certain that Kyle Shanahan isn't Jason Garrett. And by that, I mean Jason Garrett, and we all understand the relationship between a head coach and his quarterback, how they're connected. But Jason Garrett, through his years at Dallas, showed me, and I said it 5-6 years ago, that he was the most quarterback-dependent head coach and play call I had ever seen, because without his star guy, his offense would change. And if he had Romo, if he had Dak, they could win double-digit games. When those guys weren't in, he couldn't manufacture any type of offense. So Kyle Shanahan, what I like about it and what I've seen so far, without his top-end guy, he's able to now do it, because before he couldn't do it. Before he got Garoppolo, he still couldn't win games with the Niners, and I try to point that out to everybody. But right now, he seems to just run the offense, which is what I like to see. You don't have to change things, which means you put your roster together to where everyone's being taught the same things offensively and defensively. I think it makes you better.
Speaking of Kyle Shanahan, when you look at this Eagles linebacking core, they've been getting abused and targeted heavily. With the return of Kittle, do you think that Kyle Shanahan will look to really crush that matchup?
Yes. Easy. Yes.
Ah, jeez.
Kyle is going to. He's going to. Kyle Shanahan is going to attack whatever the deficiency is in your defense. But that's the game, right? As I always tell young players, the key to success in the NFL is knowing what you can't do and avoiding it at all costs. Because whatever you're not good at, that's what your opponent is going to attack. It doesn't matter if you play offense or defense. So I knew as a corner, I had to pay attention to the things I didn't do well and work on them, because that's how they're going to try to get you. Kyle is going to attack. He's very Belichickian in that way, where he is going to game plan, is game plan specific on which running back he's going to use, who's going to be his primary receiving target in that game. But looking at what the linebacking core has done thus far, expect him to try and get that run action going, get these guys playing up and having to move, and then you're going to get the crossing routes. You're going to get a heavy dose of Kittle. You're going to get all the jet sweeps, all these things to try to keep those guys confused. He's going to try and attack those linebackers,
Yeah, I mean, I just, what I love about that 49er offense, at least last year, I haven't got to see him as much this year, but they have so much speed, Eric, on that side, and it's like they accentuate the positives of the skill set of their skill players, the jet sweeps, the bubble stuff. I love the way they design, and man, just watching this Eagles defense, I think after watching the Rams and what they did to them, the Eagles defense might be in for a long day with all this speed.
Well, you lost some of that speed because Raheem's not playing. Mm-hmm. So without Mostert, and he's just fast. He really is fast. But still, B.A. came in. Ayuk came in, the number one pick, and he showed. I actually like how he looks in space. Everyone thinks he's like a clone of Deebo Samuels, who will be back.
Debo playing this week?
Back. Yeah, you're right.
Is Debo playing this week?
I think he's playing. Don't hold me to that, but I think he's playing. I personally, I know they're getting him out there on the field. I would actually be okay if he didn't play, because we all know when you start getting stress fractures in your feet, you come back too early.
Yeah.
It could take your year from you. So it's better for him to wait until that's completely healed. And continue to work the other guys around. It's only getting other reps, getting reps to the other guys and allowing them to grow. Bourne is playing well. Like I said, BA's back. So that speed is something that's the 49ers offense. Like I said, it's misdirection and then make you chase a guy across the field, 53 yards. That's what they do.
Now, Eric, you were a multiple-time Pro Bowler, an All-Pro. You won a Super Bowl at cornerback. If you're watching the Eagles right now on tape at these wideouts, they had one guy practice today. One, Greg Ward. That's it. Nobody else practiced. They are all injured. I mean, as a corner, preparing for a team that's so depleted at wideout, I mean, are you guys licking your chops to be like, yo, this team is not pumping the ball down the field on us in this game at all?
Oh, well, that's kind of what our secondaries always did. So you're asking the wrong guy. we sort of looked at it. We sort of looked at it in some of the better secondaries we're in. We sort of looked at it, and we'd look at the quarterback. We'd look at the coordinator. Because the first thing I do, I don't even DBs. What you should do, I'm not even concerned about the receivers. Because the thing about the NFL, every wide receiver is fast. Every wide receiver can run routes. Every wide receiver can catch, or they wouldn't be in the NFL. So you never underestimate them. So I want to look at, number one, play caller. Who's the puppet master? The guy in front of me is only going to do what he's been told to do. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. What do they like to run? What do they like to do? What does this coordinator like to do? Where did he come from? Where did he learn his football? What's his MO? Once I know that, and once I understand that, the offense in the scheme, now I can look at the players and say, do you have the guys to do those things? And you can start eliminating certain things. So if you don't have a certain player, if it's a stretch the ball down the field offense and your stretch the ball down the field guy is hurt, guess what? I don't have to worry about that this week. You'll still try it because it's in your DNA, but you won't be effective at it because you don't have that guy lining up on Sunday.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. That's how you look at it. So whenever guys come down, your starters are out. There's a reason why those guys are starters. But always know this: your game plan, an offense or defense, but you have to play the player. And sometimes it's actually a guy that I don't know can give me more trouble because I haven't had a chance to study him, if that makes sense. I don't know how he moves. I don't really know his mannerisms on the field. It makes it more difficult sometimes.
Now, as a defensive player, do you sense, like Carson Wentz is really struggling? I mean, it almost looks like it's in his head.
He's pressing. He's pressing.
So do you sense that? And it's like, man, blood's in the water. Let's go after this guy because we know he can make mistakes now.
Of course, yes, because he's pressing. That's what happens in the when you get labeled as a fumbler, then guess what happens? Guys are going to try to strip the ball and take the ball from you, so you end up fumbling. When you are a defensive back and you are labeled as a guy who bites on the double moves, you're going to get double moves all the time. That's how it is. Carson is pressing right now. I personally really, really like Carson. I really like him. I liked him when he was coming out. I liked him more than golf then. I like him more than golf now. But I'm also a guy that's watched him all the way back through college. See, very few people saw him in college. His school and my school battled for national championships. I went to, it was a Division II when I was there. I went to Jacksonville State, 1AA school. So I watched him play and I saw him develop. I like him a lot. I think he's extremely talented. You said something about being in his head. He's in his head. Man, football is hard. Playing in the NFL is very difficult. It is almost impossible to play well when you are concerned about making a mistake. If you are afraid to make a mistake, you will never make a play. And Carson, to me, watching him on tape, he's trying to be perfect. And you cannot play football perfectly. It's impossible. All you can do is take advantage of what's given to you and survive the plays that go wrong. And he's trying to make something out of the plays that are going wrong. And that's an issue. So, yes, you're going to expect them, because they don't have D Ford, they don't have Solomon Thomas, they don't have Bosa, they're going to blitz him from all three levels. He is going to get multiple guys coming up front. He's going to get Fred Warner in his face, who I absolutely love. He's going to get Fred Warner blitzing. He's going to get T. Ward blitzing. He's going to get K1 coming off the edge. They're going to blitz him and try to make him make mistakes. So expect it.
You were talking about how the relationship between the head coach and the quarterback is so important. Do you think that Doug can help Carson Wentz out during this time more than he is? Or do you think, look, he's out there on the field, he just needs to be that much better?
He's on the field. He has to play. I think, and I thought before coming out that it was a good situation because Doug knows how to speak quarterback. Very few people do. Very few people know how. Even at the NFL head coaching position, there are very few guys that understand how to speak quarterback. Carson has that, but now Carson has to play. He has to perform. The NFL is not about being good. Everyone's good. I mentioned it. Everyone can run. Everyone's big. Everyone's strong. It's not about being good. It's about being consistent. And that's on the player. So Doug can lead him to water, and he can show him this is what is expected. And these are the X's and O's. And when you see this front, check to this. And when you see this coverage, check to that. And this is your read. But X's and O's don't move on paper, man. When you get on the field, they start moving. So now the player has to be able to think through all of those things and just respond and play. And that goes back to what I said. He's in his own head. So I think Doug is an excellent guy to get him through this. I think Doug, the way he understands the quarterback position will give him the confidence to know that he has a talented player there in front of him, that if he can get out of it, he can be the dude for the Eagles for a long time. I don't think he's going to turn his back on that. But Carson just has to play, man. Yeah. Confidence comes from doing. He just got to make some plays. And as he makes plays, he'll continue to feel like he can make plays.
Well, we'll see it unfold. No Goddard. Rieger's out. No Alshon. Looks like no Deshaun Jackson.
Out.
They got some problems out there, and this is not a fun team to have to face.
Goodness.
Nope, not a fun team to face. Eric Davis, Super Bowl champion, 3-time All-Pro, host of Bleave in 49ers on the Bleave Podcast Network, and he, like all guests, shared the knowledge on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Eric, great stuff, man. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Take it easy.
All right, that game's Sunday night right here on 97.3 ESPN. That was an excellent breakdown. Great to hear his insight